So where are you at right now?
Springfield, Missouri.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's okay. So we're not too late there then. Okay.
No.
But it's still what, 8?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 hours ahead.
All right. Well, I'm glad we didn't go later then. Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, we're here with it's Bauer, right? Like the 24 star Bauer.
I don't know who's that.
Didn't Kiefer Sutherland play the guy in 24, Tina? Jack
Bauer. Yeah,
Jack Bauer. Yeah.
I don't know how he spells his last name, but ours is like the German way, so it's Bauer, where most people it's like Bower. I don't know. But yeah.
Interesting. Well, Laryn Bauer, thanks for joining me tonight. We are going to talk to Laryn about her life, her dreams, her hopes, her ambitions, things that scare her, things that, it's old hat now. She can handle anything. She's going to tell us about her wicked older sisters. No?
If I have any dirt on them, I don't know if I have any dirt on them.
No, I do that to get a rise out of Michaela. I had to send that over to her and say, I don't know. Laryn had some strange things to tell me about you. I decided not to put it on, but no, it's pretty fun. So you're in Springfield. Give me the rundown. What are you doing back there? Where does your husband work? Where do you work? You guys are going to school, I believe, right?
Yeah. So Cole is getting his master's degree here at Missouri State University in Springfield, and he is doing it in health, wellness, education, something like that. I don't know. Every time I butcher it every time. Anyway, but he's also a graduate assistant. So that means he can work on campus, specifically at the recreation center that they have there. And he gets his tuition paid for, and he also gets paid for his work. So he's essentially kind of coming out on top rather than going in debt. But I'm not working. I'm at home with our little girl, she's 8 months old, Ronnie Michelle Bauer. And yeah, it's hard. But it's a good thing, I guess. I don't know. I'm still trying to convince myself of it, but yeah.
Is he still lifting weights?
Oh yeah, every day.
Good. Oh, mama.
Yeah. I will say
awesome.
I heard the part of the interview with Bard where he said that my mom was attracted to my dad's body when they first met. Well, I can definitely say that was what was going on with Cole and I, because yeah, he's always been super fit, really into weightlifting, kind of more of the bodybuilding type. And so he actually got me into it a little bit. I'm nowhere near where he's at his level, but yeah, he's always staying in shape. If he doesn't make it to the gym one day, not a good day. Like going to the gym, that's like part of his therapy. So
yeah, you got to get those endorphins flowing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's still important to me, but not like it used to be. I have a harder time recovering now than I used to. I didn't ever think I guess I never thought about getting old, but but you definitely do get old. So I don't know. So I think that the reason that was a big deal with your mom and dad is because not only in the Taylor family generally, and I mean by Taylor family, I mean everyone, including Jinxes and everybody else. It's just not considered polite company to discuss such matters,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I mean, I believe that you're supposed to be attracted to your maid. I mean, I think that's what it's supposed to be. I'm not sure,
I don't know. That might be at the bottom of the list, right? That's supposed to be near the bottom. No, just kidding.
Maybe. maybe, but yeah, I mean, I don't, and it was weird because when your mom said that in that environment, it was an odd thing. In fact, no one would have ever expected her. None of the aunts and uncles, her siblings would have expected her to say that, unless, this was one of the sisters that were really close to her and maybe heard her say it before. But I remember being in the room, and it was in the room at Vashon Island, and she, yeah, and it caused an audible gasp in the room,
Yeah, I
but
can see that happen.
I think Brock was the only one that turned and looked at her and goes, "Really?" Because things change after you have 18 kids like they did. Just
yeah, they got up there, that's for sure.
Yeah, nah, great family though. You come from great stock, good environment, and I got to say, you could have done a lot worse than picking coal.
Yeah, you're right. I could have done a whole lot worse, but I think I got the top of the pick.
Hey, you're looking pretty good too. Are you lifting also?
Not as much as I should. Trying to get away from an 8-month-old is a little more difficult than I thought it was going to be. But
do you have much support there with the ward or with other people your age? Or
during this crazy time, we don't get to see a whole lot of people really, other besides Sundays, and I go to Mutual on Wednesdays because I'm in the young presidency. But other than that, we don't really get to see many people. They're trying to keep us, I don't know, apart, I guess. I don't know. Not really.
Laryn, but during these challenging times, it's
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
These are but we're all in this together.
Yes, we're all in together.
What a bunch of baloney. No, and I'm all about community and spirit and all that. I just wish, I'm all about truth too. And unfortunately,
Well, and it didn't help. We moved here in August, which was dead in the dead middle of the whole craziness. And so we didn't actually get to go to church for a couple weeks. And when we started going to church, it was every other week for 40 minutes. And then
when did you move there?
Moved here the very beginning of August.
Oh, so
last year. Yeah.
You just started in the fall. Yeah.
Yeah. Ronnie was 2 weeks old. It was a little crazy.
Now, wait, I'm sorry, I should know this, but how are you spelling Ronnie?
Ronnie, the guy
that should
way.
Be easy, right? No, I mean, I guess otherwise it would be Rony if you went Rony, right?
Yeah.
That's like
Well, and it's actually, we found out after I liked the name before we found out that that's a family name on Cole's side. And so once we found that out, we were kind of like, oh, and we didn't know we were having a baby girl. That was
you waited.
Yeah, we waited, and that was my choice. Cole wanted to find out, but I've never wanted to know. So I figured on the first one, might as well not find out. So yeah, that was, I think, our top pick for a girl name. So
now have you guys talked about how many children you want to have as a goal, or are you just letting nature take her course?
So before we had Ronnie, it was it was around 3. Before I met Cole, it was maybe around 5. Like that was my kind of goal. But when we got married and we were talking about things, Cole was kind of more settled on the number 3. He has 3 brothers, but his oldest brother passed away shortly after birth from a heart defect. And so he grew up with 2 brothers at home. And so 3 was kind of just, he was used to it and he liked it. And, over the years, I kind of got more used to the idea. But now that we have Ronnie, um, it was really hard for me after I had her.
Why?
I guess my expectations of what it would be like to have a baby were completely different. I mean, I am the youngest of the 8 children in our family, and so I became an aunt. I think, what year was Talmadge born?
Talmadge?
Talmadge was the oldest nephew, so I was like 8 or 9 when he was born. So I've been around kids for as long as I can remember. Well, so I was like, I thought I had this like down. I'm like, I don't know what kids are like, you know. And but when I had Ronnie, it was totally different. And I've never been a baby person. And now I definitely know I'm not a baby person. Like babies are just not my jam. Babies are hard. And so um I don't think it helped being so far away from family right
Mm-hmm.
after I had her. We were in Idaho when we had her, moved out here 2 weeks later. My mom and dad helped us move. And I mean, my mom and dad were here for quite a while. And then my mom stayed after my dad left back to Washington. And so um, she was probably with me for a good month to a month and a half, where usually she she usually helps all of my sisters and sister-in-laws after they have a baby, but usually it's only a week. But I was very blessed to have had her with me for so much longer, because I I can honestly say that I don't know if I would have survived. Um, I wasn't sleeping. I was so worried that Ronnie was going to stop breathing, and
That's
um,
normal. Yeah.
I'm told that, and so just the normal new parent thing. But I mean, I really struggled with it, and even after my mom left, I mean, it got a little bit better, and then right around about the time she was turning 3 months old, I mean, it kind of hit me again, a big wave of anxiousness. So um,
Were you having some postpartum?
I would say I was having postpartum anxiety, not depression, um, because I was always worried about what was going to be happening rather than what had already happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was always worried about, um, is she going to sleep tonight? What's tonight going to be like? What's tomorrow going to be like? Uh, Different things like that. So I was always on the anxious side of it. And I it around her around the time she was about 2 or 3 months, I mean, it hit really hard again. And I actually went up to I made a quick decision to head up to Washington and um, fly up there for a couple weeks, um, because I don't know if it was I was homesick. I don't know if it was kind of just like, I can't do this alone anymore. And Cole was here, but he's in school, he's got work. So I think I was trying to just do everything on my own. And so I went up to Washington, and that helped a lot. I mean, just being around family again, it was really nice. Um, and then came back here to Springfield after those couple weeks, and um, it was hard again. I mean, Ronnie, there was a month or so, actually it was a lot longer than that, where I mean, it was taking forever to get her to fall asleep at night for naps, and she just wasn't staying asleep for naps for very long. Like, she's a horrible nap. And um, yeah, and so I mean, through all of that, I think I had lost like I don't know, probably a good 20 pounds. Like I think I was the thinnest I had been since high school. Like it
Really?
was just, oh yeah, like just being so worried about what was going on and all that anxiety and
I thought
everything.
you were going to tell me you'd
So,
lost sleep. You
oh, I had lost sleep too, believe me.
you can make up sleep. You know that you can make up sleep.
Um, but yeah, like it was just taking a toll on my body for sure. Um, and but Christmas time rolled around and we got to go back to Idaho for almost a whole month. They had a quite a bit break from school. So we got to go back there and Blair helped me um, train Ronnie how to sleep better during the Christmas break, and it totally changed a lot of things. I was able to start relaxing more. I was able to know that she was getting good sleep. Uh, yeah, that was a game changer for sure. Blair really helped me out, being able
Eh,
to kind of get that time back a little bit rather than spending so much time trying to
Now,
get
was
home.
she helping you virtually, or did she come out there?
No, we were in Idaho. So Blair's in Rexburg and Cole's
Gotcha.
family's from St. Anthony, which is just like 10, 15 minutes
So right
north
at
of
the very
Rexburg.
beginning, she was helping. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we were up there during Christmas time and she helped me and it was a total game changer. And that was when Ronnie was probably about almost 5 months.
Hmm.
So I mean that was a good, I don't know, 5 months, that 5 months up for sure. And there's obviously still tough days, but not weeks and months worth of it. And so I don't know. That was a long answer to your question of whether or not we're gonna have more kids. Um, I don't know. And I love
And
kids.
that's why the answer was long, because you have this huge qualifier
Yeah,
so that
yeah,
everyone will understand if it doesn't happen. I
yeah.
mean, you tried to tell people.
I know, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
And
you know,
yeah, like I love kids. I love the toddler, like the 3, 4, 5 year old, but babies are not my jam. Yeah, so I don't know. Um,
what do you attribute that to?
maybe it's because I'm the youngest. Maybe it's
Yeah.
because I wasn't around babies until, well, and even when Talmadge is the oldest, and then McKaylee, I mean, they didn't live in Basin City. Michaela was in Utah when she had Talmadge, and Neil was in Rexburg when she had Kaylee. And then, I just really wasn't around babies. And even through my teenage years, like I had lots of friends who were like, oh my gosh, it's a baby, when someone in the ward had a kid or something. And I was just kind of like, that's cool. But yeah, I've just never been a baby person.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know. I would love to have a larger family than just one kid. Uh, there are other ways of making that happen. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
So you're not opposed to the making of the baby. You're opposed to the having of the baby. I got you.
Yeah, yeah. The work after the baby comes. Yeah,
I got you.
that's the hard part. Yeah, for sure.
Now, isn't there somebody? Aren't the Simpsons from Springfield, Missouri?
I have no
I think they are. Do you know them? Have you met them?
idea.
Sorry, it's a little
We were
joke.
not allowed to watch The Simpsons in our house, so yeah.
Actually, I don't think I've watched some since, not on live TV, but the ones that have some kind of they say some kind of societal predictive programming in them,
Oh
which
yeah, 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 for sure.
kind of interesting. I don't
Mhm.
know. Let's see, who do I know? I don't know anybody. Oh, I know of some people though. John
Apparently,
Ashcroft.
apparently, Brad, I just forgot his
Roy Blunt.
no, what's it? I can't believe I forgot his name. He's married, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Uh,
Oh yeah, Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt's from Springfield.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I just found that out like a couple weekends ago.
So then we have to have a philosophical discussion as to whether it was in Troy or I saw this the other day. So I'm trying to do this seriously and I can't hold it. There was this big debate about when did Brad Pitt's abs look the most ripped or the most natural? Was it in the movie Troy or I forget? I don't know. There was another one where he had his shirt off a lot, but anyway. It's interesting on this. Oh, that's politics. Maybe that's why. His name didn't come up, and that's why, because there's a whole bunch more people. Oh yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, and
Yeah,
also something very interesting about Springfield. It's
yes.
I would say it's about the same size as Tri-Cities, population-wise, but the amount of restaurants that they have here in Springfield is astronomical. Like I have never been in a place where there are so many restaurants. Like, I mean, big city, yeah, sure, but for the population, it's insane. Just restaurants everywhere. And I have been told that that's because Springfield is like a testing ground for restaurants. So maybe that's why. But it's crazy how many restaurants are here.
I wonder why it's a testing ground. I
I don't know.
wonder. I imagine the populations there is pretty diverse.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I should qualify that. There's got to be more African American folks there than there are here.
Yeah, but maybe I don't get out very much, but not as much as I was expecting. So, yeah.
Interesting. Has anyone else visited you out there besides your folks?
No.
Just too far to travel.
Cole's parents, but that's
Yeah.
I mean, it's only one stop in Denver on an airplane, straight from Pasco to Denver to here. So.
No, that's pretty sweet. I went to Ames, Iowa back in what was it? I don't know, November.
That was a one. Don't answer if you don't have to.
I probably could, but I have to be super conscious of.
You're good. Don't even go there if you don't want to.
Of the YouTube algorithms that pick up. You know, it's like when have you watched all of the other interviews that I've done? Or it's okay if no.
I haven't finished Wesley's, and then Cody's is coming out. So
okay, so all right. So the reason I asked that question is I can't say the words COVID.
Yeah.
Right, because that sets off their algorithms, and if they don't shut you down, then they put you under additional algorithm scrutiny. Yeah. And so I have to be really careful to, like, even if I do slip and say something, I have to mute it out, and then I'll put something on the screen that says it's not spelled COVID, right? It's spelled KOV, or rhymes with KOVID.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, no, but I loved it. I loved I guess technically that's the Midwest. I don't know. We hit Minneapolis. It was a straight shot from here to Minneapolis. We hit Minneapolis, and then we could have literally driven from Minneapolis to Ames faster than we flew that last little jaunt, because we had to wait around the airport for a while. I took Tina with me, but it was a good time. I could live in the Midwest very easily.
It's beautiful.
The only thing is the family issue, but it's like you just said, an airfare is so cheap now.
Yeah.
Unless, of course,
it's beautiful out here. I mean, the trees are amazing. Like, I mean, it gets kind of, my dad said when he was here, it's a little claustrophobic because you can't see very far, but it's because we're so used to being able to see miles and miles out in the basin. Whereas here, I mean, You probably got 100 trees within the first 1.5 blocks from the house. So
Yeah, yeah, we're big sky country here, I guess.
yeah.
So Springfield, I'm just trying to picture it. I didn't do research on the city before our interview. What's the major river that runs close by? Is it Mississippi? No.
I have no idea. I should probably do a little bit more research about Springfield too.
What is going on with you? I don't understand. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, Arkansas is not too far. We're not too far from the border. Branson is actually only like 30-40 minutes away. And that's
Really?
yeah. That's
My brother served in Branson for a while. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's not too far to Mormon Vegas or whatever they call it. So yeah.
It's not MS. What's the abbreviation for Missouri?
MO.
MO, that's right. What's
I
your
have to think
MO?
about it too.
What's your modus operandi? So you said he graduates pretty soon?
No, he'll be just done with his second semester. So he'll actually graduate 2022, spring of 2022.
So he's doing the whole program. I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Now is Cody. So Cody, you probably know this, but Cody wants to be a seminary teacher.
I heard that recently.
But studying to be a physical therapist in case that doesn't work out.
Yep. Backup.
And yeah. So I'm always curious about how the cousin and cousin in-laws influence the decisions of other cousins and cousin in-laws, because it does seem like, especially on this side of the family, that there is quite a bit of impact.
Yeah.
I don't know what made Cole decide to go into that.
Actually, so he was going to CBC for a little while. We lived with my parents for 4 years after we were married, in their basement. Everyone's dream. But it worked out great for us. And he worked at the recreation center on campus there, and his supervisors kind of were just talking to him about his plans for the future, and he actually started wanting to be a nurse anesthetist. So he was going to have to do nursing school, all that type of stuff. And Cole would have been great at that. He's not much of a studier, and so I don't know how well that would have gone, but his supervisors were just kind of like, why are you doing that? Like, you need to be in the setting that you love, which is a gym.
Mm-hmm.
And he got to thinking about it a little bit more, and he and the supervisors were talking, kind of just figuring out a new game plan, essentially. And so he got his business management degree from CBC and started, just kind of looking around at different programs. And his supervisors actually told him, like, there's no reason for you to pay for a master's program. There are grad assistantships at almost every college you can imagine. And so start applying. And yeah, what he wants to do is be involved in a university's athletics / recreation center, kind of help running it, doing things like that. That's what his career goals are, I guess you'd say. Yeah.
He likes the lifestyle.
Yeah, he loves being like involved in athletics. Loves basketball. Loves that.
Does he want to be a coach?
Does he want to be a coach? That's a good question. He would like to be, but I don't know if he would want to like be a head coach at a university. Like, he would love to be involved somehow,
can see though the lifestyle on a university campus is fantastic.
Yeah, and he loves it. He loves that, like, being around that age group and getting to kind of have the athletes come into the gym, see them, do their workouts with their trainers, and also just being involved with the college age kids. Like, he just likes that. And so, yeah, he kind of hopes that sneak into one of these, maybe a little smaller university. The bigger universities, he doesn't get as those personal relationships with, like, the athletes or the coaches, or even most of the students that just come to the recreation. So he actually likes maybe a little bit smaller university, or even like a big college.
Well, let's leave Cole in the dustbin of this interview's history for a minute.
Okay.
And let's get back to you and Ronnie. You're a full-time mommy right now, and that's fantastic. What do you do when Ronnie is sleeping? Or I guess I should ask it a different way. Do you have hobbies and interests that you're involved in now, or have you kind of put those on hold?
I put most of my hobbies on hold, but I love watching vlogs or Dude Perfect videos because they make me happy. I love laughing. I lost that part of me for those first few months after I had Ronnie, and so but now that we're coming out of that, I've been able, just watching vlogs of famous people. Uh, Steve Cook's one of them. Don't watch his anymore, but like lots of the fitness industry people that put their blogs up. I like watching a lot of, like, the CrossFit competitions, even though I would never do any of that. I can't do it. But yeah, vlogs are some of the things that I watch, or some of my TV shows on Netflix. Probably should be doing laundry or cleaning the kitchen or something like that. But no, I'm like,
We're not
it's
doing
my
that in
time.
this interview. No, we're not qualifying our answers for our potential watchers. We're going to just be straight up.
No, yeah. I I do my time because that's the only time I get to do it, and watch some TV shows on Netflix or YouTube. That's what I do.
Interesting. And your favorite genre is, you've said, do you ever get into people like Timothy Ferriss or any of the self-help guys?
Oh no, I'm not a
or gals?
person.
No.
I probably should,
because
but I don't.
Well, there's a huge athletic crossover is probably
really?
the reason why I'm asking. Yeah. Like Timothy Ferriss is, I mean, he's huge into like venture capital and funding startups, and he does all the intellectual pursuits of being an author and interviewing famous people. But he's also interestingly enough, he's also I think he's the Japanese champion sumo wrestler in his category.
Wow.
He's not fat. What he learned in studying, he knew he wanted to accomplish some things like that. And so what he did is he studied all the technical aspects of sumo wrestling. And he ended up beating people. You know what? I could be wrong. I could have my jujitsus and my sumo wrestling. I think it's sumo wrestling. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Without regard to that, he studied all the technicalities and figured out how to beat guys that were twice his size, just by using the rules.
Yeah.
And that's really Timothy Ferriss's. That's really his genius. Is he's kind of a brilliant guy, and just he knows how to win.
Yeah. Gotta study the game. That's part of winning is you can't just be good at it. You got to study it, get the tactical part of it. You got to do all that kind of stuff to be the best. So.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. So what were you, now you played volleyball in high school, right?
Yeah.
Did you play basketball too?
Yeah.
I quit out when the game started.
I'm sorry?
I quit when the game started.
Oh, Tina thinks I'm talking to her because she's half asleep.
Oh God.
Isn't that cute? That's cute. She just told me that she quit. Tina, I'm talking to Laryn over here. All right, so what else? So you did basketball, which I don't think I ever saw one of your basketball games, but I'm pretty sure I saw you play volleyball.
Yeah.
What else did you do?
So freshman year in high school, I played softball. And then I made the switch over to track and field for sophomore and junior year. But my senior year in basketball, first game state tournament for my ACL. So didn't do any spring sport. Yeah, I didn't do any spring sport that senior year. Kind of bummed.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
How's it doing now?
Probably should have done a little bit better rehab on it after surgery.
Does it hurt?
Oh no, it just clicks. You can hear like the grinding of the bones. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna happen anyway. I mean, who cares?
We all get old sometime. Me, I'm just old now. So.
So I had a day. I didn't have a lot going on with my business on this day, and Carlin needed some help running a disc out on his place, and went out there and drove disc for a few days. But it sucks getting old. Oh my gosh, because you can run that tractor with GPS. It's really pretty easy. Kind of hard to screw it up, right? But you can screw yourself up. Like I'm looking right the whole time, just making sure I'm not pulling dirt. And oh man, at first I thought it was like I did something to my hip, and then I think it's my groin, and like I don't know what it is. It hurts. I know, it's like so here's how. Okay, so if you're into physical therapy now, so it's when I go to get in my car, I get in just fine, except that left leg is sitting outside the car. And it's got to find a way in. So it's not getting in on its own. It's either being lifted in or, some kind of assist. But oh my gosh, whatever muscle it is that pulls that in, I cranked on that thing. I'm hoping if it's a hip already. I'm only 54. Better not be a hip.
No. Did she tell you she won Junior Miss?
We haven't got there yet, honey.
Tina.
You need to go back to sleep.
Oh,
did she tell you that she won Junior Miss? I said, we haven't got there yet. So anyway, getting old. I don't know. That's what I attributed to. I used to work tractors and plow fields and disc and harvest and all summer long. Yeah. Beginning, you start milking cows, finish by milking cows. But like you said, you get older.
Yeah.
But you're gonna miss that ACL.
Yeah.
I
can't run anymore. I mean, I can run. It is really bad. Like I don't go very fast. I don't last very long. But yeah,
you might as well just hang it up. Just call it a day.
Yeah. That's why I stick with I love cycling. I actually got into cycling a couple summers ago, and I love it. I think it's great. Yeah.
That's great. What kind of bike do you have?
That I think it's a Trek.
Oh,
I don't know. I can't remember. It's back in Idaho. We didn't bring it.
Oh yeah.
So.
Well, we bike, but we didn't we go to like Costco or something, and we find the best bike there for under $300, and that's what we buy. Yeah. But we love it.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any type of bike, cycling, just riding your bicycle down the road, I love it. Like everything.
That's going to be good to stretch the ACL out a little bit.
Oh yeah, and it's low impact, so it's really nice.
Cool. Now, I'm not going to ask you about him, but does he, to whom you're married, have a bike also?
No, he doesn't like cardio.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, he doesn't do cardio.
Just tell him to go pump some more weights.
Yeah. No, just do it faster, right? If you do it faster, then it's cardio.
Well, maybe he can attest to this, because I did notice his physique and whatnot. You could tell that he knew what he was doing when it came to lifting. But my understanding of the best techniques thought of today for growth and health is to lift the old paradigm of sets of 8 or 10 is dead. Like they say, you should lift to failure, and then the next set, call it a set, lift to failure, and you may not even get to a third set.
Yeah,
as long as you're
I think
lifting.
he does that quite often. I don't know.
Yeah, he may.
Yeah.
That's the only way to real growth.
I think he does. I know he does that at the end of his workouts. Like whether it's like bicep curls or like shoulder flies or whatever, like he does that for sure. He does like a failure for sure. Yeah.
And then you help him get him all back in shape when he gets home.
Yeah,
whatever.
probably should.
All right, well, so now that she mentioned it and didn't let us go to it on our own, I guess we'll talk about Junior Miss. Tell me how what experience was for you.
I loved it. I wish a lot more girls would be involved in it than are. I was the only girl in my family to do it. I think a lot of that had to do with just the circumstances. Whereas, like, if Michaela had been involved, there was 7 kids at home still, just a lot more chaos probably. But because I was the only one at home at the time, my mom and I kind of signed me up for it without my dad. And when he found out, he was kind of like, "Wait, what? That's a beauty pageant,"
He didn't like that?
No, he didn't like it.
What?
But it was a dream of mine since I was like in 6th grade or something like that. I had just watched all these. I had gone, I think, from my 5th grade all through, sophomore year, just gone every single year, and it was like amazing. I have loved it ever since the first time I saw it. I loved it, but yeah, being involved in it, it was like a totally different experience than what I was expecting. And my dad will say now that it was really good for me, and it helped me out a lot with just my confidence, uh, different things like that. I really loved it though. I mean, it was, you have to do an interview, so you do mock interviews a few times. You learn how to answer questions, have your judge panel all be involved without breaking down in front of them. But your scholastics were judged. I didn't have the best scholastics in high school. Probably should have had better, but yeah, they're sent off. I think they send them off to CBC or somebody else, and your grades are kind of rated and judged, things, and then you have to do a fitness and a talent, and we called it poise. Now it's self-expression, but it's your presence on stage and address and a question on stage. But yeah, it was a lot. About 3 months of practicing. Obviously, you need to have it most of the time. Have a talent beforehand. And I played saxophone. I played Pink Panther on the saxophone, and so.
I think I've seen that actually. Would you describe yourself as being lacking in self-confidence before Junior Miss?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Sure. Yeah. I think coming at the end of 8 children, there's an expectation, right? Like you talked to Vard about. But I kind of just followed in my sister's footsteps with sports, at least, which was totally fine because I loved volleyball, basketball, softball when I played it. But I kind of just followed the crowd a little bit, probably more than I should have. And I would say I was lacking self-confidence area for sure. uh, pretty, I think I was kind of quiet, uh, not as outgoing as I wished I was at that age, for sure.
Well, did your mom encourage it because of those things, or did she just want to see you achieve?
I think I had just expressed how much I wanted to do it.
Hmm.
And because of the circumstances we were in, she kind of was like, okay, and we were actually on a vacation somewhere. My dad, I think, was in Twin Falls at the time visiting his mom. And my mom and I were driving down separately for some odd reason. And my mom and I were just talking about it, and we started coming up with ideas and plans, and kind of was just like, yeah, let's do it. And the paperwork comes around in fall, I think. So it's fall of junior year, the paperwork came around. My mom and I signed it and everything. Yeah, I told my dad that I was doing it, and it's not like he was not mad by any means, but he was kind of like, wait, what? Like, none of the other girls have done this. Like, why is Laryn doing this kind of thing? And I think that was a good thing for me to kind of step out and do something on my own that none of my other sisters did, and
To me, that would have been reason enough right there.
yeah, which I don't know if I thought about that at the time. Uh, but yeah, I loved it. It was great. And to this day, I will say that that is one of the best accomplishments that I've had.
Very cool. Yeah. Good for you. That's awesome. Are you going to you gonna have Ronnie be involved in things like that?
I would love her to be involved if she wants to be involved in that. I think it's an opportunity to kind of go about it on your own terms, like, because moms aren't really super involved in practices. And like, my mom helped me with my costumes and everything, which was awesome. Like, I keep thinking about how awesome my costumes were. But it gives you a chance to kind of explore who you are and kind of run with it, And so if Ronnie wants to be involved in stuff like that, I think it'd be great. Like, I will encourage it from a young age, but if she chooses not to, that's totally fine. But I would love for her to do that.
Very cool. That's awesome. What books do you like to read?
But so I'm not much of a reader. I have become more of a reader since high school, but actually growing up, reading was really hard for me. My eyes, we didn't find this out until I was almost a senior, but my eyes focused at different distances. And so it was extremely hard for me to read growing up. And so I didn't read very much. But now I read a lot of, they're called proper romance novels. And so I've read a lot of those, but I actually like reading a lot of true stories. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Educated. Did you ever hear that story?
Is there a series?
No, it's just a standalone book, and it's a girl. She grew up in southern Idaho, and it's kind of a crazy story. But yeah, so I like reading true stories about people and their lives, like that. There's probably a name for it. I should probably know it, but I don't. Different things like that. What else? I've actually never finished a Harry Potter book. I still should probably do that because I was reading it with my niece, but I still haven't finished it, and she finished it, but I never really finished it. But yeah, I'm not much of a reader.
I saw a statistic the other day that J.K. Rowling has sold over 500 million copies of.
That is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, she's brilliant. I mean, that whole universe of Harry Potter came out of left field. Like, I mean, that happened when I was really young in elementary school. But I mean, I never got into it. But yeah, I love the movies. Seen every movie probably like 3 or 4 times. But yeah, yeah, that's yeah. She's amazing. She did an amazing job with the story.
So your answer to the question about Junior Miss is prompting me to ask you, what's your confidence like today?
Okay, so
Must be a good question.
yeah, in areas where I have educated myself in, obviously you're going to be more confident, right?
Sure.
But I struggle with jumping into areas where I'm not as educated in, which I should be because I'm 28 years old and who cares anymore? No one cares. Like, if you're not very good at something, but I still struggle with that. And it's, I like, I'm a planner and I like to know what I'm getting myself into before I do it. And so I like to do a lot of research. And so I think that's why I struggle with kind of dabbling into new things before I feel like I know it well enough. But my self confidence, I would say it's better than it was in high school. I think that's just kind of natural. High school is just like a funky age for multiple reasons, but I think it's better. I still struggle a little bit. Obviously, I think that happens naturally for us women, but I'm working on it. So
Yeah, I mean, it's making me actually more curious about you, and like, what are your dreams for your future? And you can't, don't take that the wrong, like, I'm not saying, do you have any dreams separate from Cole? But what are your personal dreams? Like, where do you want to settle? What kinds of things do you want to be involved in?
yeah, okay, that's a great question. Because I've thought about it a lot recently. Because becoming a mom, your heart and soul, every single minute of your day is revolved around this new child. And so you kind of lose your identity a little bit. Like, let's be real. Um, yeah, and it's really hard for me because for such a long time, I mean, Cole and I were married for 5 years, almost 5 years before we had Ronnie. So we were pretty independent people. Like, it was not a big deal if it was 11 o'clock at night and we wanted to drive into Pasco, which is 30 minutes away, and grab a bite to eat. Like, it wasn't affecting anybody, right? But now my life is just revolving around this little tiny baby, right? So I've thought about this question a lot recently. What do I want to do with my life?
Right.
Because I need to have a little bit of separation from being a mom 100% of the time. And it kind of does come back to Cole just a little bit because we have this dream together of owning our own gym. And I mean, I have worked as a personal trainer a little bit, but I have also, because I love anything with activity, whether it's hiking, whether it's cycling, anything outdoors, indoors, moving around, even if it's just dodgeball or kickball in a gym. Um, Anything with movement, I really enjoy. And so, Cole and I's dream is to have our own gym one day. Obviously, that might not happen anytime soon, unfortunately. But I would love to be involved in that aspect of our lives and be able to kind of immerse myself. That maybe might be my escape away a little bit from being a mom, but I would
What a
just do
great
it.
way to stay fit too.
Yeah, just yeah, that I don't know. That's kind of it might not be a dream that is this big grand thing like you're gonna go change the world, but that's just
Uh,
I don't know.
don't sell yourself short. Most people aren't curing cancer. Um, I think it's pretty cool, actually. Especially if you carve out what your niche is going to be. Like, have you ever been into yoga?
No, but I probably should. Because I've
Like
heard
you
it's
could
really
teach.
good.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I haven't, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm going to sit here and tell you, hey, I'm into yoga. It's awesome. But I would like to be.
Yeah.
I just have absolutely, I can make every excuse anybody can.
For me, it's very slow. And it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be meditating. You're supposed to be relaxing. But it's kind of just too slow for me. So
Supposed to help you not tear your ACL and stuff like
yeah.
that. No, I've just read so many positive aspects for health, and it just seems like if your goal will be what it is, or your dream, I guess, you and Cole together, you can make that happen. By the way, I mean,
yeah.
you could do a Planet Fitness even if you wanted to just do like a franchise. All you got to do is find the money. There's always somebody willing to invest if you're willing to run it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that seems awesome. But I've always thought, that up here during the recent dim panic, the facilities that, now I can't remember what they call themselves, but facilities that tried to stay open as a gym had to close. But there are some that actually went in and physically changed their purpose to, I believe it's something about overall health, or there's some legal designation that allowed them to stay open if they had that in their charter.
That's amazing.
And so what used to be Gold's Gym, I think it's now LifeQuest, they did it and they were able to stay open the entire time. Planet Fitness closed. And I think they're having a hard time, in fact, because I belonged over there, but I remembered, and Tina and I were going quite often. No, it's never as often as you should go, but my favorite time in working out and getting in shape was after I had ballooned up to the size of a small house. And then I got all of the equipment. Actually, I had a lot of it. It was just put away, but I got it out when we had the house at 57 Place. And I built a gym in my garage because I actually hate going to the gym and here's why. I don't hate going to the gym. I hate feeling like I've got to shower and dress to go to the gym. I mean, I know you don't, right? Because it's not like it's not supposed to be a social thing, but it sort of is, right? But I didn't really make progress until I had that thing up and running in my garage. And then it was amazing. I had my own little circuit.
Awesome.
I could knock out so much activity, heavy activity in 20 to 30 minutes that, I lopped off like 50 pounds.
That's great.
It didn't take much time at all. And, but anyway, so then we started going to Planet Fitness, and when we sold that house and moved, didn't have room for the home gym anymore. But I think Planet Fitness is struggling a little bit because they closed. I got a survey from them today saying, what's it going to take to have you come back? And there was a whole bunch of questions like that. And they missed the mark for me though, because they're asking questions about, how do you feel we handled the pandemic? How was our cleanliness during the dim panic? How did we do? And I felt like there wasn't a place to freeform write something, but I wanted to say, no, the fact that you guys capitulated to the government on every aspect of this is what bugs me about you. Why didn't, you should have stood up to them. You should have, stand your ground, because now you're in a place where you're trying to justify your existence. You're trying to convince the people who are paying you money that they should come back. And I think what you did is you kind of messed yourself up, because people realized that they could work out somewhere else.
Yeah.
And
Lots
so
of
they
people,
started.
home gyms became a huge thing. Yeah.
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 I mean, if I would have had foresight, I would have got into, some Chinese manufacturer, because
Yeah, seriously.
you guys are into weight training. So you know how much they're selling weights for these days.
Oh yeah. And it's hard to find anything because everything's just back ordered, like you just can't get anything.
Now, one place where do you have Dick's Sporting Goods back there?
It's called Academy, but yeah, it's essentially the same thing.
So it was hard. I always kept my eyes on Craigslist, because usually when people dump stuff, you can find pretty good deals. Right now, you can't find anything. But Dick's had this deal where they had an Olympic set. They had a bunch of them that they got in.
That's awesome.
And they're Chinese, and they're cast metal, but they're cool. I mean, but like you can get 300 pounds for $300. And that includes this, and they're the Olympic set. So they got the bigger ring, and you get the 7-foot bar and the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's a great deal compared to what's been going on, because people are selling their stuff for $2, $3, $5 a pound.
Oh yeah.
And the weights that I want to get, you have to tell me what you do on this. Since you tore your ACL, maybe you're not doing deads anymore, but I want to buy, and I've scoped them out on Amazon and stuff, but I want the big padded weights, so that I can drop them and not crack open the floor of the garage.
Yeah. Those are nice. Super nice. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I like those. I don't do a lot of like deadlifts or stuff like that, but yeah, those are like those weights are great. I mean, you can slide them around and move them around without worrying about chipping off a half a pound of metal or anything like that. Yeah.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. There was some of my weights before when I thought, these aren't really 45s. These are more like
42 pounds now. Like
maybe they're 42s. I don't know,
Yeah.
But if you take a picture that shows the 45, would you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, I love watching, speaking of YouTube videos and stuff, I love lifting too. I don't know if I love it as much. Let me say it this. I don't think I'm as adept at lifting as you probably, or even Cole, but I love it. Like it is like, it's one of those things that you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe it when I can't be out there pumping for a few days. Like if I miss out on a few days, it's like I'm dying, right?
Yeah.
But having said that, I love when I watch YouTube health videos. It's like Ronnie Coleman. It's like, there's a guy called, have you seen this big black guy named Hulk?
Probably.
He has a name. So. Yeah. Cole probably knows his name. He has a name,
probably.
but they refer to him as Hulk. And I mean, the guy can bench. I mean, just like it's nothing. He can put 6 or 7 45s on each side of a bar, and he's just throwing it up like it's nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm amazed by those people. I'm like, how is that even possible? How do you move that much weight? And they make it look like it's a stuffed animal. Like they're just like throwing it almost. It's insane. Yeah.
And he has this thing that he does. I'm sorry, every time I get in these things, names escape me, but he does this almost like performance art, because he'll get the bar loaded up to a point where everybody be able to be like, there's no way you're going to bench that. Come on. Who are you fooling here? Right.
Yeah.
But he'll lay down on that bench, and then his friend, who's also a bodybuilder, who calls him Hulk, they have this thing where he'll say, Hulk, smash, and the guy will pump it once, and then he'll just hold it there until he's commanded to smash again, right?
Wow.
And he can go on like that. And I'm not talking about 3 45s. I'm talking about 6 45-pounders on each side. That's like amazing. It's nothing. It's insane.
Yeah.
Ugh.
For sure. I'm pretty sure steroids might be involved in that, but still, I mean, that's
Maybe.
crazy.
The guy is the size of a small locomotive, but
Yeah.
Oh. So what's next for you? I mean, when you look forward to, let's say, let's not go beyond the end of this year.
Okay.
Do you have set for yourself, 3-month goals, 6-month goals? How do you do your goal setting, or do you?
I don't do it as I should, because there are days where it's like my goal is just to make it to the end of the day. Like that
Yeah.
is sometimes like that survival is just unreal. But I would say
I get that, by the way.
yeah, it's
I do. I understand what you're saying.
yeah, it's I don't know. It's hard to put it into words, but if you've been there, you know the feeling. It's yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it
And yeah.
sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you kind of hesitated earlier, and maybe there's a reason for that, but I think there's more depression around than people realize. More, I even hate calling it this, because I can't look at myself and say, you're mentally ill, but it's mental illness,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, that's what it is. And I think there's a lot of it for a lot of different reasons. But
Mhm.
if we got, I went here, I'll go here with you because, you're of the female set, and that's okay. But we won't talk about some of the stuff that I talked about the boys with, but we could talk about this, right? Like, what is wrong? And, Michaela's had her issues, but what is wrong with just being open and honest about this kind of stuff, so that, here's my dream. I had this dream for not just our elders quorum, but for our family too, where we have a struggle, and it usually gets expressed with men in terms of weird sexual stuff, but it could be anything, right? So, like, what is wrong with being able to be vulnerable enough as family and as Relief Society or elders quorum, whatever it is, to know that, what, we're human beings, and as human beings we are going to struggle. We're going to struggle. Maybe, to me it's always funny, because like there's 7 billion people on the earth, and every single one of them at some point in their life are going to have sex. So why is it such a taboo thing, right? Because those temptations are there. Men could help each other if they would quit thinking, oh, that person's struggling with this or that. Come on, wake up. Everybody struggles with stuff. Quit pretending, right? And it's the same with mental health, I think.
Oh,
we need
very similar. Very similar.
Yeah. We need, if we could bless each other a lot more if we would just accept that we struggle too. You don't have the corner on sanity, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the fear of being judged or being seen as weak. I don't know what it is. Because Blair actually told me, she's like, Laryn, you need to just go talk to a doctor. And you know what? I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why. I don't know if it's because, I'm like, no, I'm not weak. I'm not. Or maybe it's denial. Maybe it's denial for me. Maybe it's like, I'm not really struggling with that,
Well,
but
what if you changed your paradigm? What if your paradigm was, it is the weak that don't go take care of things, right?
Yeah.
What if your paradigm was, I can go and see somebody because I am strong as hell?
Which that is the way we should be thinking about it. The people who do go get help, the people who seek out the professionals, they're the strong ones, because they're admitting that they have something they need help with.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so because Blair actually, I hope she's okay with me sharing this, but Blair's had her struggles after her babies and things, and this time she actually was able to get on a medication before she had her last baby, and she said it was night and day difference, right?
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Like it's so good that there are resources and options out there. I think, I don't know what it is. I think it's just being scared of admitting that something is wrong.
So where does that come from?
The expectation of perfection, maybe not
Yeah, see,
perfection, because we can't be perfect. We know that we can't be perfect.
you know what
But
we're really good at in the church? We're really good at qualifying everything we say. And I think it's a little bit insidious almost. It's something it kind of, it grates on me as I get older. It's like, come on, let's stop with this stuff. You know, we all do it.
yeah,
We all do it. I do it too. So I'm not excusing myself, but I wish we could get to a place where, well, let me express it to you this way. I went to a it's called Discover You. It's Mike Jones University, Discover You in Houston, Houston, Texas. And one of the principles that he taught, it was a 4-day, 5-day deal, but one of the principles he taught was, and this is about leadership, but you think that by not being vulnerable, that by keeping a secret, that nobody knows. Here's the dirty little truth. Everybody knows. They just know you're afraid of yourself. Right? But like, I think it's things like this. This is one of the things about these interviews that I hope helps change some of this, because I want to reach out to you so that you know you can trust me. We're having a conversation that we wouldn't have otherwise. And I've been, now blessed to have a number of these. And I feel like that is starting to happen naturally, where, I don't hold back, that I've told them, the thing is Vard was the only one that really made me uncomfortable, because he's like, oh yeah, I'm coming back at you, brother, but
he does
but
that
it's
quite
helped.
often.
Well, but you know what? In order for me to go through the whole process, I need to be open to it. I need to be open to answering questions that he has and answering them honestly and putting myself out there too.
Oh yeah.
For this, and I have the same fears that you have. But I also know, yeah, it is. But I know that trust and love and courage doesn't develop without communication. It was somebody, I think it was Cody, most recently said, oh, I'm gonna forget how he said this, but he said the opposite of isolation is communication. He had somebody that told him this. The opposite of isolation is communication. Sounds obvious, right? Except we isolate ourselves in lots of ways. Here's what's funny, right? We're talking, you're in Springfield, I'm in Washington, but we're having a personal conversation, right? So it's not like this can't happen. And in fact, maybe once all these interviews are done, maybe what the family will realize is, hey, you know what? This is a pretty cool tool. Why don't we use it to have more get-togethers?
Yeah.
Is that crazy?
It'd be too much talking at the same time,
maybe. It does require it may be. I mean, it does require, I like, for me, I know it's one of my weaknesses. I gotta shut up and let the other person talk.
No, you need to keep talking, because it's great listening to your voice. Like I remember Enzyme. It was a few years back, and you came up one evening and you did a presentation, and I loved it. And man, I wish Uncle Tim could be here more, and I don't know, like I love listening to you. I love all your um, intellectual conversations you have, or your your conspiracy studies, just different things like that. And Cole is actually, I would say he's pretty he knows a lot of conspiracy studies. Like, he kind of dabbles in that a little bit. He kind of likes that kind of stuff. So yeah, he shares some things with me, some things, but what were we
Did you
talking
say
about?
you did you watch Blair's?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so what's the new term we're going to use? Do you know? Do you remember?
Isn't it conspiracy studies? Isn't that what it is? I don't know.
Yeah, conspiracy scholarship yeah, something like that. Don't
Yeah,
use the
yeah.
word. Oh, this
Theory.
might have been. Yeah, don't use the word theory, because that was brought up and made. That was a made up phrase to marginalize people.
Yeah.
And that's in the church committee hearings. I mean, that's in open congressional hearings where the term came from. It's not just, and think about it, right? Even now, even though you may know that, whenever you hear somebody say, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist, you think, even though you're like, yeah, well, but there's a little part of you that goes, yeah, he's a little nutty. He's a little nutty. Or he or she's a little nutty. She's a little, even though intellectually, no, you want to know what? Especially like as members of the church, right? And I did this with Cody the other day, it's on his video, in fact, but if you look up in the topical guide, secret combinations, you know what it says?
No.
See also conspiracy.
Really?
Yeah. So if you're a member of the church and you believe still in the Book of Mormon, a lot of people don't, but let's say that you do. A major component in there was preparation for the last day. In fact, President Benson called it a battle plan for the last days, right? And that we would experience when you see these things come among you, right? So we have a modern day version of Getty Anton robbers secret combinations, right? Which are, again, look at topical guides, see also conspiracy. I think it's genius, though, that in the Book of Mormon, they don't use the word conspiracy as much as, you hear secret combinations and most people are like, huh? Unless they're a member of the church.
What is that?
What? Is that like a secret way to open a lock? What do you, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. I've been actually more and more, if I do get in a place where we are talking seriously about the Book of Mormon, and it's just a kind of a freewheeling talk, I'll say things like that, like, because like to me, and you've probably heard this too, some of the parts of these interviews will be boring for people, like the parts about testimonies. Testimonies you could predict. If I were just going to say, Laryn, let me bear my testimony to you, okay? Yeah. You could predict, again, I've used the word 85%, it's probably 90. You could probably say 90% of what I'm going to say. Let's put it in the context of like a fasted testimony meeting, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You could probably call it. And I wouldn't even need to get up because you already know, right? So why is that? Because I think it's a little bit like being vulnerable with mental health or with whatever struggle we're struggling with, sexual issues, whatever. We're a little bit worried about being seen as kooky, even in the church.
Different, yeah. Sure.
At some point, you got a fresh courage take, right? At some point, you got to be able to bring the Spirit in and say, you know what, the Spirit has distilled on me the doctrines of the priesthood, line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little, until my confidence waxes strong in the presence of the Lord. And I'm not afraid to tell you that even though you think I'm a kooky sucker, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to anybody, I'm right about this stuff. That's why I don't want to go conspiracy on these, or why I don't want to talk about politics on these interviews, because that's all that it would be. And And I think that it prevents us from knowing each other. Like, if you think that that's the only thing I want to talk about, how likely are you to share anything about yourself with me?
Yeah.
And I want to know you. I want to know you better. Now, the ancillary benefit for all of these is aunts and uncles and cousins are watching them too, and they're getting a lot of stuff out of them, which I think is great. When I first started these, it was simply because I wanted to record something about all of you guys that I don't know, talk to you, have you talked to me, and develop a relationship.
I think it's great. There's, and I really hope a lot of the older cousins take this opportunity, because there's a lot of the older cousins, I just don't have a great relationship with. And, I don't even know where they're at right now. Different things like that. And it's probably vice versa too. Like, they don't have a great relationship with me and they don't know where I'm at. And so I really hope people take the opportunity if they have the opportunity.
Well, I think what's going to happen, people may not record them, but I think that once we get a bunch of these out there where people are like, oh, Laryn's pretty cool, or whatever, like whatever cousin, I think that eventually what's going to happen is people will they'll just Zoom talk with each other. It'll happen. They may not record it, but
Yeah. Like, I've Zoomed in on a few of the Melba Club meetings.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And, it's just a bunch of women talking about who knows what, but you're part of something. You're not alone. And I think that's so good to know that you're just a part of something, somebody else. You're not isolated. You can be involved in things, even thousands of miles away.
Well, you're not alone. And I want to say, in every way appropriate, you're hot. You're a cool little mommy. You got a great husband. Who gives a crap about him though? So get some confidence about you. And when we're going to talk more, don't get me wrong, but when I see you in 10 years, I want to walk into your gym and see that hot little Laryn over there in her little, whatever she wears. What is it? The little, what are they called? The yoga pants. And she's leading the yoga. And, and I want to see confidence on your face, because you're a confident girl.
That's my goal.
But without communicating, I guess that's my encouragement to you, is to use this as a jumping board, not just for a relationship with me, but, I actually have, my heart is actually with you nieces, because the nephews get all the attention. The nephews are always the focus of everything.
Thank you.
That's true. And they're cool and everything, but our nieces are cool too. You're cool.
Yeah, but we let them have the spotlight a little too often.
Got to take it back, because you know what? You're not a wallflower.
Not anymore.
You're awesome. You know what? I've actually seen a difference from the time we started the interview till now. And I think this is natural, and maybe I did too, but you come out of your shell a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Not that you actually had a shell, but you do, but don't isolate, right?
Yeah.
Communication is the opposite of isolation. All right. So we are running out of time. We'll do this again after you've decided, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that he kept me on that long.
Oh, no, it's been great.
Well, before we go, what didn't I ask you that I should have, or what would you like to share with people who might watch this that you haven't been able to share so far?
Oh, that's probably way too much. No, I think, and this is something I've been thinking about, and I don't know why. It could have come from spirit, but I just wanted to, and this might not even be the right setting for it. I don't know, but if I just want to let people know that if I have hurt you, or if I have done anything that was unkind, I am so sorry. I don't know. I probably didn't know I was doing it at the time. Maybe I did, and that is so wrong. Um, but if I have done anything, please contact me. I don't get on Facebook very often, but I do once in a while. Please contact me, and I I will personally apologize for it, and I will ask for your forgiveness because I don't know. I don't, and maybe someone who isn't a cousin might see this and might need to have a reconciliation with me or something like that. But I don't know. I just have this feeling that hopefully this video will get out to somebody that I have wronged somehow, and I can apologize for it. And so,
I'm glad you said that because I've been wanting to talk to you for, no, I'm just kidding.
oh
No, no, that's a good thing to say though. I think actually it's very similar to our ministry. Like, you know, we have assignments to minister to certain folks. And it is so awkward. And I'll tell you why. You can even love them. But like, it's like bearing your testimony, right? We have to be more creative because otherwise you ring, ring, ring.
yeah.
Hi, hi, Joan. Yeah, this is your minister. I haven't talked to you in a few weeks, but would you do me a favor? You know, if there's nothing I can help you with right now, would you make sure that you let me know if
Yeah.
I can help
Yeah.
you? You know, and what happens? Unless I have a relationship with her or him or whoever it is I minister to, they're not going to call me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, the likelihood is very slim. So it's incumbent on people who want to be healthy to reach out. And the trouble that you have and what you're trying to address is those things you don't even know.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and who knows? You know what? I read some time ago that it was as much a sin to take offense as it was to give offense.
It's always a choice.
Yeah.
But I really hope, like, I mean, I sincerely don't ever want to hurt anybody. And I'm actually one of those people that if I know somebody doesn't like me, it bothers me. Like, I don't know why, but yeah, I hope that, you know, if I've done anything, I really hope that I can make that right with that person, with you or with anybody, and just apologize for whatever it was that I did that I maybe didn't even know or realize I was doing.
You don't think you did anything to me, do you?
No,
I'm
I was
gonna go to
scared of
bed
you
tonight going, what
when
is
I was
it that
little.
what did she do to me? What
No.
was I not paying attention sometime? No, there's nothing in my life where I feel like, actually, I really feel, I don't want to give your dad too much credit because he's got a big head already. But, you know, I'm being somewhat facetious. But you know, I know your parents would say not everything was perfect. You know, we had these struggles, maybe they're financial struggles or this struggle or that struggle. But you know what? Your family is awesome. You guys they did a great job. I know it's hard sometimes growing up in a family that's that big and feeling like you got any of the limelight and whatnot. But trust me when I tell you that with a lot of the people that I associate with, you are very well adjusted. You're doing fine. There's nothing wrong with Laryn. And I think you know that. I think you know that, but you need to be reminded sometimes, you know.
Thanks.
Well, anything else you want to say?
If you're watching this and you haven't taken the opportunity and Uncle Tim has reached out to you, it's a learning experience for me just as much as anybody. I don't know, like, I think it's great. Just, you know, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I could honestly say I've never had a one-on-one conversation with you where there's nobody else. And I think that's a great opportunity to have.
Isn't
And
it cool?
so, yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Like,
I love it.
yeah. Well, and it totally makes sense because there's like 50,000 of us cousins. So, yeah, it's just, yeah, I think if you have the opportunity, please take the opportunity and just run with it. Like, yeah, it might be scary, but I think it's great.
I appreciate you saying that. Let me add one thing to that, because I got into a thing this last weekend where I had a ton of people cancel on me, and I know things come up, don't get me wrong, but like, I'm not doing this for a living. I'm doing this in my spare time, right? And it does take time. It's time I'm willing to spend. Like, I want to put it in because I want to spend time with you. Having said that, I'm not going to chase people down anymore. It's like, if you want to do this, I want to talk to you.
Oh yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
you need to reach out to me too. Let me know, because I want to have the conversation. So let's have it. But I mean, and I know things come up, like people have to cancel. I'm not like all beat up because you canceled. I felt like I had a bloody nose this weekend because I literally had 5 people cancel in like 3 days. And
yeah,
I don't have that much time anyway, right? So if I'm trying to do it on the weekend and I'm hanging out specifically to talk to someone and then they cancel, it's just like, you guys, like, I'm not, nobody's paying me. And it's not like, and I don't want to get paid. Don't get me wrong. That's not what this is about. But like, don't think that there's some ancillary reward for not doing the interview. For me, the interview is the reward. And when you cancel on me, I'm hurt.
yeah.
I say that having also told people that, like, Kirk was tonight, and I said, dude, I got to take a break for a while. I got to reevaluate, because I feel like I started this out. My purpose was to get to know my nieces and nephews better. And then parents got involved. And all of a sudden they're asking me, did you get my kids scheduled? And I'm just like, I'm not going to go out of there and schedule your kids. You know what I mean?
Oh, God.
Like the kids that are the kids, you guys aren't kids, but the people that are reaching out to me.
We are kids. Give us that youth back. Come on.
If I make you kids, then I have to be old, and I'm not old.
You're still young too. Come on.
I'm young at heart. Yeah, I actually don't feel old, except for just I don't heal as fast. I have to be more careful lifting weights, honestly. Like, there are things that I used to pull. I could throw weights around before and not, maybe it's because growing up on a dairy farm or a farm, you're hauling hay, you're doing all kinds of stuff, never get hurt. Well, now, geez, I got to be a little bit careful with what I'm throwing around.
Oh yeah.
But, well, listen, we'll do this again sometime. I appreciate your words of encouragement to your fellow cousins, and I hope that they listen to you, and I hope that they take a chance. I want you to know, Laryn, that I miss you. I love you. I wish you were closer. You will be again someday. But this is an example of why that doesn't have to be as big a deal as it may be, right? Because we can talk any day.
Yeah.
So
and I was actually talking to Haley about this, about how we don't, I can't put Haley in this. I will say, I don't think any other aunt or uncle could do this and pull the depth out of people like you. And so I think it's great that you're taking this opportunity, because I think you're the perfect person to do it. So thank you for the opportunity.
That's a super sweet thing to say. But thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Love you. Thank you for this opportunity. It was great.
Love you too. Take it easy.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.